Arcadian Vanguard presents The Wrestling News in your daily wrestling newscast for Wednesday, September 11th, 2024. Good morning, I'm Mike Sempervive. We begin today with Monday Night Raw ratings news. Raw's season premiere episode drew the smallest audience for the show since January, with 1.43 million viewers tuning into USA Network, according to the Pro Wrestling Torch. That's also down from last week's audience of 1.652 million. The rating in the 18 to 49-year-old demographic was a .45, which was also down from last week's rating of .49. Monday Night Show was up against the first installment of Monday Night Football of the 2024 NFL season. NXT was broadcast live last night on the USA Network from the WWE Performance Center in Orlando, Florida. In the main event, Trick Williams defeated Pete Dunne in a last man standing match to earn a shot at NXT champion Ethan Page at the CW premiere of NXT on October 1st. Page came down to ringside during the match only for Williams to put him through the announce table.
Referee restarted, but now Ethan Page, the NXT champion, is screaming at Pete Dunne. He's screaming at Trick. The referee's at 7. Referee is at 8. Trick trying to get to his feet. Page! Page! Whoa! This is the last man standing! Here is your winner, Trick Williams!
Julia made her long-awaited NXT debut, defeating Chelsea Green.
Boom! There's that knee! Under the jaw! Good night, Green!
Gotta give it up for Chelsea Green, laying out all the stops, Vic.
Give it up for Julia. Julia now, locking in. And just planting with that Northern Lights bomb. And the beautiful madness creates her first beautiful masterpiece on NXT.
Prime time.
Your winner, Julia!
In the opening match, the Street Profits made their NXT return in an attempt to win the NXT Tag Team title from Axiom and Nathan Frazier, but the match ended in a disqualification when the Profits were attacked by Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and Jacob Fatu of the Bloodline. The Rascals had been the originally scheduled challengers for the match, but were unable to compete due to Trey Miguel requiring minor surgery on Sunday. Sol Ruca answered the open challenge of TNA Knockouts champion Jordan Grace, but lost by disqualification when the champion was attacked during the match by Wendy Chu and TNA's Rosemary. Hammerstone of TNA also made an appearance, falling in defeat to NXT North American champion Obafemi. NXT Heritage Cup holder Charlie Dempsey was also successful, defeating Javon Evans with a deciding fall in the 5th round. Also on the show, Ridge Holland beat Duke Hudson. In more WWE news, the city of Milwaukee is making a major play to become the location of next year's edition of Money in the Bank, according to the Milwaukee Business Journal. If the city's bid is successful, Money in the Bank 2025 would take place from the Fiserv Forum. Milwaukee has not had a WWE Premium Live event since Fastlane 2017, which emanated from the Bradley Center. The 34th annual edition of the PWI 500 was made public yesterday with the release of the December issue of Pro Wrestling Illustrated. Topping the list this year is WWE champion Cody Rhodes, who attained the number 1 position for the first time. PWI posted the rest of the top 10 online, which included, in order, former AEW World Champion Swerve Strickland, International Champion Will Ospreay, former WWE World Champion Seth Rollins, IWGP World Champion Tetsuya Naito, former WWE Champion Damian Priest, former AEW Champion MJF, Jon Moxley, WWE World Champion Gunther, and NWA and MLW Middleweight Champion Mystico. Established in 1991, the PWI 500 ranks the top 500 wrestlers in the business globally based on an evaluation period that runs from summer to summer and takes into account several factors including win-loss record, championships, quality of competition, position in their respective company, and in-ring ability. Wrestlers must have had at least 10 singles matches in the evaluation period, or at least 1 singles match in 6 different months to be eligible for ranking. And we close with some sad news to report. Longtime Japanese professional wrestler Kunaki Kobayashi passed away on Monday at the age of 68. Kobayashi passed away after battling an illness, according to a press release issued by New Japan Pro Wrestling. Born January 11, 1956 in the city of Komoro, Kobayashi entered the New Japan Dojo as a teenager, making his in-ring debut in January of 1973 at the age of 17. He spent much of the first 2 years of his career on excursion under the name Taro Kobayashi, traveling to America to wrestle for a handful of different territories, such as Championship Wrestling from Florida, Georgia Championship Wrestling, Central States, and the city of St. Louis. Kobayashi would also gain experience in Mexico, spending much of 1981 and 1982 learning the lucha style in the UWA and CMLL promotions. Upon returning to New Japan in October of 1982, Kobayashi's career took off as he began to feud with the company's newest superstar, Tiger Mask. Matches between the two would often be featured during New Japan's primetime network telecasts, with Kobayashi coming up short and wresting Tiger Mask's NWA and WWF World Light Heavyweight titles. During the summer of 1984, Kobayashi would join Riki Choshu's heel faction, Ishin Gundan, to feud with New Japan's babyfaces. But due to political machinations and the deteriorating relationship between Choshu and New Japan leader Antonio Inoki, the Ishin Gun unit departed the company to begin Japan Pro Wrestling, which partnered with the All Japan Pro Wrestling promotion. Kobayashi would become an integral part of All Japan's light heavyweight division, winning both the NWA World Junior Heavyweight and All Japan World Junior Heavyweight titles and reviving his feud against the Tiger Mask character, which was now being portrayed by Mitsuharu Misawa. On June 21, 1985, Kobayashi's match against the second Tiger Mask would be voted as the match of the year by Wrestling Observer newsletter readers. Following Japan Pro Wrestling's dissolution in 1987, Kobayashi would rejoin New Japan and become the first man to win both the IWGP and All Japan World Junior Heavyweight titles. In July 1992, Kobayashi was diagnosed with colon cancer, for which he underwent surgery. He made his return to the ring 6 months later, but was sidelined again in 1999 when it was found that the cancer had spread to his liver. Kobayashi retired from full-time competition in 2000, but made sporadic in-ring appearances, the last of which was during New Japan's 2017 Tokyo Dome show, where he appeared in the pre-show New Japan Rambo Battle Royal. New Japan honored Kobayashi with a 10-bell salute prior to yesterday's Road to Destruction event in Sendai. Once again, longtime Japanese professional wrestler Kunaki Kobayashi has passed away at the age of 68. And before we leave you today, we'd like to remind you that however you consume your content, you can find the wrestling news 24 hours a day and 7 days a week across social media. On Twitter, follow us at Wrestling News AV. Our Facebook page is also Wrestling News AV. The Wrestling News can also be found on the Arcadian Vanguard YouTube page. And for those who utilize Amazon Echo devices, just tell Alexa to play the Wrestling News podcast. And remember to make sure you add podcast at the end. Once again, for daily updates, breaking news, and more, follow the Wrestling News across social media. And that's the news for today. If anything happens, we will be here to tell you about it. No clickbait, no paywall, just the Wrestling News. The Wrestling News is a division of Arcadian Vanguard, and the Wrestling Newscast is a production of the Arcadian Vanguard Podcast Network.